How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down Podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Happy Friday, Bears fans. We've got officially 48 hours until the Bears kick off their 2020 season at Ford Field. And today, in our first installment of Fan Mail Friday, we are going to be answering your guys' questions that you have about the game. First, I would like to say before we get into this episode, whatever platform you are listening on, do us a favor and subscribe. YouTube, we're very close to 2.5K subscribers. We might actually hit it before the start of the season. So if you are new on YouTube or haven't listened yet on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and want Bears content every day of the week, we definitely post the most content on YouTube, so be sure to check that out and click the bell for notifications whenever we post. Also, if you're on YouTube, do us a favor. Like this video. Let's set a like goal for 50 likes, and we've got a ton more content coming out this weekend. And if you're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, if you wouldn't mind doing us a favor, we would appreciate it if you left us a 5-star review on our podcast. We're working really hard for you guys, trying to get you guys the best content possible. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I am joined with both of my co-hosts for this first installment of Fan Mail Friday, Parth Shaw and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Doing pretty good. We're 3 hours away from kickoff, and I'm just getting excited to watch some football.
Yeah, same here. I'm just trying to be like Josh Bellamy, trying to get to that beer, you know?
Yeah. And you get that Josh Bellamy reference. If you know what recently happened with him, you can go ahead and look that up. We don't need to bring it up here. So we asked you guys questions on Instagram, on Twitter, and on our YouTube community page. I'm pretty sure all of our questions today are going to be coming from Instagram, but moving forward, if you want to follow us on social media to be able to submit your questions, we normally ask for questions on Thursday because we record these about 24 hours in advance, so you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at BearDown and have a chance to have your question used in a video. So let's hop right into this. The first question that we've got, and I'll answer this one on my own because this is an easy one. It's from Jacob Midge on Instagram. It was submitted to Trubisky Nation, so Parth's page. And the question asks, what's the deal with the running backs this week? Who will be out there? So, luckily enough for us, we just got the Bears' Thursday injury report, and it looks like David Montgomery was a full practice, which surprised for us. He was limited on Wednesday with that strained groin, but Thursday he was full. So barring any sort of setback, it looks like David Montgomery is going to play for the Bears this weekend. Something that's really nice. Just looking at some other injuries real quick, Robert Quinn did not practice for the second straight day with an ankle injury. His backup would be Barkevious Mingo. Bears defensive coordinator Chuck Pagano confirmed that Khalil Mack will play this weekend. He's just been a little bit sore with an injury there. They haven't been practicing a ton. So to answer your running backs question, it looks like David Montgomery will be out there on Sunday, which is very, very big for the Bears. So for the next question, I'm going to go to another one submitted to Trubisky Nation. This question is by Anthony Zara 12. I'm going to ask Jaylen. Jaylen, the question is, what do you think Trubisky's stats will be this weekend?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. We all know, for some reason, Mitchell averages 3 touchdowns a game against the Lions. But due to no preseason, I'm going to go 2 touchdowns. I'm going to go with 21 for 35 with 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
Okay. That's a solid one. Parth, you want to put some input in on there? How do you think Trubisky's stat line will play out?
I'm going to go with 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. I think he's going to be running the ball a lot more this year, so he's going to get 3 total touchdowns. And I'll just go 250 total yards, whether that's passing and rushing total. There's no preseason, so there's going to be a lot more running the ball, in my opinion, especially to start off the week against this Lions offense. You got to run the ball. You got to pound the game. I think Nagy's been emphasizing a balanced offense this offseason, so we're going to see a lot more running from Trubisky and running backs. So 250 total yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid prediction. And you mentioned running and how important the run game is going to be. I absolutely agree, and that's why it's so important that Montgomery is set to come back week 1. It might be a conservative decision to pull him for this game, and I would understand if they did, but as long as he's a full participant in practice tomorrow, I don't see any reason why he can't play on Sunday. Okay, We're going to head over to another question on Instagram. This one was submitted to my page by Mr. Solado33, and we're all going to answer this one. Who do you think will have a bigger impact in the first game, Jimmy Graham or Cole Kmet? Now, this one kind of has me licking my chops because it has me thinking about how much better the Bears' tight ends are looking to be in 2020. Obviously, the last performance we saw against the Lions at the tight end position was when Justin Horsted caught a touchdown on the Thanksgiving game in 2019. But I think Jimmy Graham's going to have a good impact here. Cole Kmet's still incredibly raw. I think he's going to exponentially improve. But you know what? Jimmy Graham is going to have a very good opportunity here. I think if he can stay healthy, he could be quite productive in comparison to Bears tight ends in the past. We saw Adam Shaheen and Trey Burton combined to play 16 games last year in Chicago. Our tight end 1 and tight end 2. They were both on IR for 8 weeks. So I think if they can both stay healthy throughout the entirety of this game, I think Jimmy Graham could be a solid red zone threat. But, you know, I think the Bears will be coming out in bigger packages. So I could also see Clement catching his first career touchdown. And what a story that would be in his first NFL game after being drafted by his hometown team. But I think generally speaking, just because he's the tight end 1, I think Jimmy Graham's going to get more looks here. Therefore, I'm going to say that I think Graham, as a grizzled veteran, will have a bigger impact in this first game than the rookie in Cole Kmet. So, Parth, what do you think? Who has more of an impact in this game at the tight end position, Jimmy Graham or Cole Kmet?
I'm gonna go a little bold here, and I'm gonna just say Cole Kmet gets his first touchdown. I think he's bound for success this year. Rookie tight ends don't have much success, but we've all heard how intelligent Cole Kmet has been, how much work he puts in, and that chemistry between him and Mitchell Trubisky has been spot on during training camp. So I'm gonna go ahead and say he gets his first touchdown this game, and he has a bigger impact than Jimmy Graham, and that's no knock against Jimmy Graham. I think Graham will still be a great tight end for the Bears this year and next year too, with a 2-year contract. But yeah, I see Cole Kmet having a big day.
Yeah, that's a bold prediction, but also believing in the rookie and Kmet. So Jaylen, what do you think? Yeah. Who has a bigger game here, Jimmy Graham or Cole Kmet?
Now I want to go with Cole Kmet too, but hopefully I want to see him get 2 touchdowns on his first game against our rival. Well, not a rival, but a division rival. But I'm gonna go with Jimmy Graham right here too. He's just a veteran, and I expect for him to get more targets in the red zone and to be our red zone threat than Cole Kmet right now.
Yeah, definitely going to be good to see how these tight ends come out. The next question we've got is from Tyson Rupp _. This one was submitted to my page. The question states, I love the Bears, but I'm low-key pretty nervous about this game. Do you guys think Matthew Stafford has a big game? I mean, you got to respect Stafford for what he can do when he's healthy. I think Stafford is a pretty likable guy. Even though he's a division rival, it still sucks to see him go down every year with the nagging back issues that he's had throughout time. But you look at his 2019 stats, and he played in 8 games and was probably an MVP caliber quarterback. 99 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. I think, and Parth hit it on the head earlier, it's going to be a slower start for these offenses just because there was no preseason. Might be a little bit sloppy of a game on both sides. I mean, I guess we'll see how ready these teams are tonight when we see the Chiefs play the Texans, but obviously those are some higher caliber teams than the Bears and the Lions. But I think Stafford will have a good game. I think the Lions are a scrappy team, if I'm being honest. I think they're better set up to succeed in 2020 than they have been in years past. So I mean, you look at everyone they have. They've got some good running backs now. Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Adrian Peterson. They just bring him in last weekend. T.J. Hawkinson entering his second year in the league behind Jesse James. And then those receiving corps aren't bad as well with Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones Jr., as well as Danny Amendola. So this Bears defense is good, but Matthew Stafford's a legit quarterback when he's healthy. So I think, I would say I don't know about a big game, but I do think Stafford does have a good game. And it's going to come down to, can the Bears defense get stops, and can the Bears offense put up points when they're in the red zone and not rely on bringing out Cairo Santos for field goals. So, Parth, what do you think? I'm not going to ask this one to Jaylen just because we want to move on to some different questions, but how do you think Stafford does in this game?
I think Stafford has a good game. Matthew Stafford's been a pretty consistent quarterback his whole time in Detroit, and whenever he's healthy, he's always a threat. I think last year when he started off as a top 5 quarterback was an MVP discussion, and then he got hurt, was put on IR for the rest of the season. So Stafford usually starts off hot, so I can see him having a pretty big game. It's the Bears' defense. We trust our defense, but Matthew Stafford's played this team a lot. He's watched a lot of film. He knows how to pick apart these guys. So, I don't know what's exactly going to happen. Like you hit it on the head again, we're coming out, no preseason. So it'll be a little more difficult. But I do see Stafford having a pretty good game against this Bears defense.
Yeah, Stafford definitely a quarterback who has succeeded in the past against a multitude of defenses. So it should be a very interesting one. We're going to head back to Trubisky Nation's Q&A questions. And I'm going to ask Jaylen this one first because we skipped him on the last question. This question's from Connor.Downey. Jaylen, what do you think? How many yards for Allen Robinson and how many yards for Anthony Miller receiving in this game?
In this game or this season?
In this game. This is the Week 1 Fan Mail Friday.
That's kind of hard. Oh, yeah, you're right. 'Cause that's kind of hard to predict because, okay, for Allen Robinson, I'm going to say he at least gets over 100 yards. And then for A-Mill, I'm going to say 85, 70 to 85
Wow.
for both of them. And
Okay.
I'm going to say they both have a touchdown each. Yeah, those are Mitchell's only 2 touchdowns of the game to A-Mill and A-Rob.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't have a tight end going to Clement like Parth did. Or a touchdown going to Clement like Parth did. You take a look at the Lions and the Bears last year when they played on November 28, 2019. And it was a pretty good game for both Miller and Robinson. Miller obviously had some very clutch catches at the end of that game. 9 receptions for 140 yards. And then Allen Robinson had 8 for 86 and a touchdown, both averaging over 10 yards per catch. The Lions did do a good job at upping their secondary this offseason. It's something I definitely praise them on. It's still not incredible, but it is good. I do think their secondary has improved. Earlier this week, we were looking at the passer rating allowed by all these players in the Lions' secondary. Deron Harmon, 39.7. Desmond Trufant with an 100.7. Justin Coleman, their number 2 cornerback, at 103.1. And then Tracy Walker, one of their safeties, at 117.2. I do think that the Bears' wide receivers will be able to, have a pretty good game against a Lions secondary. That is solid, but I do believe in Allen Robinson. Obviously, I've said he's a wide receiver 1 for some time, and as well as Anthony Miller, who I think improved a lot again this offseason. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's finally going to tie together his first really good season. I'm going to go 120 yards for Robinson, and I'll go about 70 for Miller. I don't really know about touchdowns. I would probably, knowing Mitch is starting, I would probably give one to Robinson, but I also kind of agree with Parth in saying that, we might see a lot of the run game out there. So I don't know if it'll be a massive passing game, but I basically just predicted that 190 yards of Trubisky's, what'd you guys say, 250 passing yards will go to those two. So I do think if Mitch is passing the ball, that he'll be looking for Robinson. He's always his favorite target. So let's find another question here. Yeah. Let's find another question here. If Montgomery is a full goal this weekend, you have to assume that Tarik Cohen is still going to get some touches. So, Parth, I want to ask you, this question's from your Instagram. The user's name is Teddy_Spittler. What are your predictions for Tarik Cohen? How do you think he'll play, and how many touches do you think he'll get on Sunday?
If you asked me the wide receiver question, I was going to put in another bold prediction. I'm going to say Tarik Cohen leads the team in receiving yards on Sunday.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to see a big bounce back season from Cohen this year. And then, in 2018, Trubisky loved throwing to Tarik, and I think this year they're going to pick it back up and go back to each other a lot more. I think Cohen puts up around 80 yards receiving with 40 yards rushing. He gets a couple big plays like that, and I hopefully he can take a punt to the house too. That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, Tarik Cohen, we look at his receiving. He was an absolute stud in 2018 with 71 receptions for 725 yards, 10.2 yards per catch, as well as 5 touchdowns. So I don't know how many touches he'll get personally, but I think it'll be pretty split down the middle with him and Montgomery. If Montgomery is playing, I don't think you want to overwork him. So, Jaylen, what do you think? Do you think it's like an even split of carries between Cohen and Montgomery, or do you think it's slightly leaning one way or another?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna give majority of the carries to David Montgomery, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did split it due to Montgomery having a groin injury. So, but more than likely we're probably gonna put the workload on David.
Yeah. Let's head to a defensive question from Trubisky Nation's poll. This question comes from Mad Christ 100. Which rookie corner is going to have a better day than the other, Jeff Okudah or Jaylen Johnson? I'm going to answer Jaylen Johnson on this one purely because he's starting. We see Jeff Okudah coming off the bench. I do think Jeff Okudah is an incredible prospect, probably going to end up being a better player than Johnson. He was the 3rd overall pick. We'll see, though. Johnson's probably someone who should have gone in the first round. He earned the starting role for the Bears. I've said it all week. He's going to have a welcome to the NFL moment. Will it be a good moment or will it be a bad moment? He's got the supporting cast around him. Whether or not Robert Quinn's on the field, he's still got Khalil Mack. He's got a healthy Akeem Hicks. He's got Kyle Fuller, Deshaun Gibson, who's now healthy, and Eddie Jackson in that secondary. I can't see Johnson. I mean, obviously you could see him getting targeted a decent bit, but I don't think it's going to be a terrible game for him. So I think on the limited snaps Okudah gets, I just think Johnson will be better because he's purely out on the field more, and if the Bears' defense can succeed, it'll be a better game for him. So I'm going to go with Jaylen Johnson. Parth, what do you think? Jeff Okudah or Jaylen Johnson stands out more in this Week 1 matchup?
Well, I just looked up something about Jeff Okudah, and he suffered a hamstring injury in practice, so he might not even be playing this weekend, which would be surprising. But, yeah, I think Jaylen Johnson should have a better game regardless. He's starting for the Bears. He's, like Chris said, he's got the supporting cast. He's got Eddie Jackson looking over him. He's got the defensive line and Khalil Mack and the healthy Akeem Hicks. I would say Robert Quinn, but Robert Quinn might not be playing this Sunday, which does suck. But I'm excited to see what Jaylen Johnson can do. When he got drafted, he was not as excited, I guess you could say, because he definitely was passed upon a lot more than a lot of us would thought. He was projected a first rounder, and then he fell to us with the 50th pick. I mean, I'm not mad, to have a guy who's first round talent at the 50th pick. I will definitely take that. So yeah, I think Jaylen Johnson will prove to the league why he should have been drafted in the first round, even earlier if needed.
Yeah, it would be really, really cool to see Jaylen Johnson get an interception this Sunday. That would be such a cool moment. Just like Clement, if he can score a touchdown. So one more question here. Actually, we might go 2 more, but for now, this may be our last one. From Trubisky Nations yet again. This is from DeVito_Sal. Do you guys expect a high or low scoring game? It's tough to predict with the Bears' offense, but based on how they played in the past, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a low scoring game. I trust the Bears' defense more than I do the Bears' offense. Therefore, I don't think the Bears' offense is going to put up a ton of points, and I don't think the Bears' defense is going to allow a ton of points. So it's a pretty simple and honestly pretty logical answer for me there. I think it's going to be more so a low-scoring game. What do you think, Jaylen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what you said. With no preseason and us not knowing how this offense is gonna go due to it being shaky last season already, I definitely don't think we're gonna put up a lot of points on offense, and I definitely don't think we're gonna give up a lot of points. So this is definitely gonna be a low scoring game.
Parth, what do you think? High scoring or low scoring game against Detroit this weekend?
Is mid-20s considered low-scoring or high-scoring these days? Because I could see a mid-20s.
I guess a mid-scoring game, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could see the Bears putting up around 24, 27 points. I think we've done that pretty consistently against Detroit the last couple of years, and I did predict 3 touchdowns from Trubisky, so hopefully we get more than 21. Santos kicking some field goals, hopefully. I don't want to see him miss. I don't want to see him miss. I mean,
hey, he was perfect in training camp.
Yeah. Apparently, Adam Hogue, I think, reported and said if Santos kicked like he did in practice the last couple of days, he would have won the kicking competition last year. So that's something to look out for. And Eddie Pinheiro's job could be at risk. I mean, that's a whole other debate to have, but that's just something I'm going to put out there.
Yeah, so you got a little bit higher scoring game than Jaylen and I. We'll give out our score predictions tomorrow. By the way, if you made it this far in the video, we will have our pregame show coming out tomorrow, so look out for that. One more question we're going to go with, because I found this one in the last minute. It's from my Q&A on Shy Bears News. This question comes from Noah Plays PS4. Early predictions for MVP of the game. I'm going to go with the bold one here. I don't think I've made that bold of a statement yet. I think the MVP of this game is David Montgomery. I think he comes out and his health surprises some people. I don't think he would be a full participant the last 2 days in practice if he wasn't ready to full go on Sunday. I've noted that I think that both teams are going to be trying to go for the ground and pound option. The Bears' offensive line isn't looking great, but neither is Detroit's defensive line. I mean, they added Danny Shelton, but Jeremy Raisman, who was on our podcast a couple of days ago, said they've yet to add any sort of established pass rusher. I think David Montgomery actually might surprise some people this weekend. If he gets a bulk of the carries, who knows what he's going to do with it. He cut 6 pounds this offseason. He's looking slimmer and speedier and still has the same ability that we all fell in love with him for breaking tackles. So I'm going to go with a surprise pick there. I think David Montgomery is my early prediction, at least for the offensive player of the game. But I could be completely wrong. I just think it would be a cool story if he did it, and I think the stars are aligning for him to do it as long as he is healthy. So, Parth, I'm going to pass it to you. Who do you think will be the MVP of the game on either side of the ball?
I'm going to go with Trubisky. I'm excited to see what Trubisky can do this year. I feel like he has a great supporting cast. The offensive line might not be the best, but I think if he needs to prove himself, he needs to come out fast and start off great week one. And I think I believe he can do it. I run a whole page on him in almost 3 years this October coming up, so I hope he can do it. It'd be awesome to see. And he's been amazing at the Lions last 2 years, and I don't see that stopping. He owns the Lions, as Lions fans hate it, but they like to criticize Mitch, but I don't think that's one fan base that cannot talk trash about Trubisky at all. So I think he's going to shove it up the fans that doubted him this year, and hopefully he can prove everyone wrong starting week one.
Yeah, if he proved us wrong, and by proved us I mean me and Parth kind of wrong, I think that would be a good situation to be in. Jaylen, I know you want to pick Trubisky for this, but is there any way possible just to switch things up that you can pick a defensive player for your early pick for the MVP of the game?
I don't like you for making me do this.
Or another offensive player, just something to switch it up.
So I'm gonna go with a defense one, just switch it up a little bit. But to be honest, I think Mitchell Trubisky is gonna be the MVP of the whole game.
Well, we all saw that
coming.
coming. He's probably gonna be your pick for all 16 games. Trubisky.
Of course, man, of course. Come on.
Okay, Khalil Mack, go.
I'm going with Khalil Mack here. He has for probably the first time in a long time, Khalil Mack has a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people saying he's not the same pass rusher as he was the seasons before that, excuse me. And I know that he's very upset about his production last season, only having 8.5 sacks. The first time that he hasn't had double-digit sacks since his rookie year, I think, which was like 6 years ago. So coming into the first game of the season against a team that their left tackle, I think, or right tackle, who they just paid, and Taylor Decker, who he's destroyed before. It's a whole clip out there. I expect him to have a really big game and dominate the Lions' offensive line.
I mean, you just take a look at Khalil Mack since 2016, and he's the number 3rd edge rusher in QB pressures since that year, with 211, only behind Von Miller and Yannick Ngakoue. Khalil Mack is definitely a player who's got a chip on his shoulder this year. He had 8.5 sacks last year, as Jaylen mentioned. We all remember how he came out in his Bears debut in 2018 against the Green Bay Packers, had a forced fumble, a pick six, also a couple of sacks. If we could see something reminiscent of that, like his 2018 season where he came out and had 12.5 sacks, I think none of us would complain about that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our first installment of Fan Mail Friday. If you would like to submit your questions next week for the episode 2 versus the Giants, Just be on the lookout on our social media. We'll definitely throw something up and you guys can get your questions in. If you want more content from us, do us a favor, head over to our website, beardown.com. You can find columns, articles, and blogs posted every other day on our website. A ton of extra content for you guys, preparing you guys for the Week 1 matchup. Also, I said it earlier, you can check out our social medias. We're on Instagram and Twitter at BearDown, and you can also find the links to all of our Instagram fan pages down in the description. We normally ask for questions on those pages as well. So not only are those some great follows, but just another way to interact with us and possibly get your questions in a video. Hope you guys have a good Friday, though. 2 days until game day. Oh, man. And we've got the pregame show coming tomorrow. I think the pregame show is one of my favorite things to record other than a postgame show after a win. We're still yet to have a guest for that, but there will be a guest for that coming out tomorrow night on Saturday, so be sure to look out for that one. Bear Down pregame show, definitely a good show to watch. We do a good job at accumulating a ton of topics into a pretty conclusive and pretty solid pregame show, and you'll be able to hear our predictions for the game. Parth Shaw, Jaylen McClinton, we're about to start recording our weekend content. We're really getting there. Any last words?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's here. I was just looking through my fantasy lineups one more time, just so I'm starting everyone who I need to start for the weekend. It's Week 1, want to start off on the right foot. So, yeah, I hope whoever's playing fantasy, I hope you guys win, and I hope the Bears.
Mitchell is about to get to that bread on Sunday. That's about it.
Man, you can't stop with the Bezo.
Bro, it's hilarious, bro.
Well, that'll pretty much do it for us, guys. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. Bears fans, do us a favor. First off, look out for the pregame show tomorrow because you're not going to want to miss that one. And also, as always, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.